responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and/or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark's at it!
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff!
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm TruthSeekah. This is the TruthSeekah podcast, man. I'm excited, delighted to be with you guys again for another episode, man. We're going to get it in, talking all things spiritual. It's what we do. It's who we are. I want to say a huge shout out to everybody supporting my work via Patreon. This is a listener-supported, listener-funded show. It does not exist without your help. Thank you for believing in the work, believing in this platform and everything that we're bringing to the table. You guys mean the world. You guys are co-creators with me. Again, you share in whatever good that this show is doing. Thanks so much for that. I want to give a shout out to some of the latest patrons within the last couple days or so. Shout out to 369, One Reality, Two Minds. Thanks for coming on, brother. Shout out to Josh. What up, Josh? Thanks for coming on as well. And Grace. I see you guys. Thanks so much for believing in the work. If you want to support, go to patreon.com/TruthSeekah. There you get access to my entire discography of music. There's 200 plus songs that you can download, stream. A lot of those songs aren't available anywhere else. For reasons that they've been taken down off of certain platforms for some reason, not sure why, or for reasons that I did not want to put some of this stuff out. Wanted to give you something extra. All the new music that I'm doing, everybody's like, when are we going to get new TruthSeekah music? I'm working on music, and the new songs are already up there. So if you've been itching for music, sign up for the Patron, get access to the unreleased music that's up there now, which is available months before it's available to the general public. So check it out. Also, our Thursday night School of the Mystics, you get access to that. That's really cool. We've been going in through some prayer, meditation, breath work, all that really cool stuff, and it's been really good the last 3 weeks or so. And so it's been really fun. So if you're looking for community, you get access to our Discord server. It's always up on my computer while I'm working. I like to hang out and jump in voice chat, listen to music with some people in the community. You get access to that stuff as well. Patreon.com/TruthSeekah. You guys already know, most of you, my book is here. Go get it. Get a copy of it. If you go down to the links here in the description, no matter where you're listening to this, you should see a link to get the audio version on Audible for free. And it still supports my work. So you can sign up for a free book and support my work as well. So I did the Audible version that I read out loud. You can get that. Let's see what else we got going on. December the 12th, we have a couple tickets left for the Reset, Refresh, and Renew retreat that we're doing, the co-ed retreat. Me and my wife are hosting it. We're going to do a cacao ceremony, which is really beautiful. Had our first one here in our home about 3 weeks ago, and really beautiful experience. And so we want to share that with you. My wife's going to be heading that up. We're going to go hiking through the woods. We're going to be doing some Kundalini yoga, breath work. And so it's going to be really good. Only a couple tickets left. Go to TruthSeekah.com to get access to that. last but not least, my program is launching here in less than a month. October the 18th, it will be launching. Hopefully it'll be turned into some modules or something after that, but we're doing an 8-week program. It's the Path of the Healer, training people in their intuitive healing. If you're empathic, if you feel led to the healing arts and you need to know how to get off the ground, we're going to be focusing on your own inner healing, and we're going to be training you how to do one-on-one sessions with people, and how to step out in the marketplace with it, to own your value and to launch you as a healer. So if you're into that and that's something that interests you, make sure that you jump on this program with us. It's been over a year in the making, and I've been just meticulously combing over all of the info and all of the stuff that I'm putting in there, and I can't wait to launch it October the 18th. Go to TruthSeekah.com as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's episode. My friend Preston, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, TruthSeekah, thank you for having me on. Very excited.
Sandbakken, Preston
That's
Sandbakken.
right.
Got it. Man, what's up, bro?
Not a lot, just, got the family life over here as well. You said you're married, leading retreats. I got a wife as well. Been married 7 years in October, and 3 kids. So the mornings are always busy over here in the Sandbakken household.
Nice,
Getting everyone to school, breakfast, not only cooking for yourself, but 4 other hungry mouths.
For sure, man. Early bird gets the worm. So for me, it's like, we go live here at 10 a.m., but we get a lot of guests from California, man. You know what I'm saying? From the West Coast. So it's early there for them. They're like, man, can we do it a little bit later? It's like, get up 8 a.m. But it's interesting too. Some people on over in Australia, it's like 3 in the morning, and I've had people wake up to do the podcast. It's like, this is when we go live, and they'll wake up to be a guest at 3 in the morning. It's awesome. But yeah, man. So we did a session a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, and you hit me up wanting to just do a one-on-one with me about picking my brain about rhyming and hip hop and verses and counting bars and just kind of telling you everything that I know. And we kind of got to comb through some of my rhymes and lyrics in different ways to formulate these hip hop sentences and bars and stuff like that. So that was the first session that I've done like that. Someone who actually hit me up about teaching you like everything that I know when it comes to writing bars and stuff like that. So that was fun, man. Thanks for setting that up too, man.
You're welcome. Yeah, I am kind of one of those people that, I respect hip hop artists a lot because deep down, I really want to be one.
Yeah.
And not necessarily an artist for fame, but just the ability to channel beautiful universal truths over music. It's just something I really admire. So the fact that we were able to connect and you're able to tell me some of these basics that have allowed me to build upon, my own practice. I appreciate that time. I took a lot of notes and been just going back and using them. So
yeah, that was fun, dude. For sure. I love talking about music and even the the analytical side of it, of how these verses are, what goes together and how you can kind of cheat the language or make it say what you want it to say and changing the way that you pronounce words and stuff like that. That was so much fun. So because you're talking about, we're gonna be talking about music and what you do bring it to the table, and that's why I was on your website, innerathletefoundation.org, and there's a lot of beats on there. Are you making those beats?
I purchased those beats.
Okay.
I've made a few when I was first getting started with my nonprofit. I bought Machine MK3, beat pad, and just was messing around with finding sounds and making beats. And I made one song that's on YouTube on my channel that is 100% original. But I realized pretty quickly that there's a lot of people that do things a lot better than him, that make music a lot better than me. So went and just purchased some beats, and it gets the point across. I teach rhythmic breathing, and there's a number of ways to do that. And for me in my own personal life, I found that using music is a incredibly powerful tool to entrain, kind of a buzzword, entrain the brain. And I wanted to get that message out. So
that's what's up. So So how would you do that? You would play these beats and play these loops and just kind of time the breathing with it, or do you play? Because I know you play a lot of spontaneous instruments and stuff in the djembes, which you got with you and stuff like that. Would you play it live and do the breathing as well? How do you actually facilitate that?
Usually the music. So I started my nonprofit about 2 years ago, and I was doing quite a bit of work with a local hospital, Mercy San Juan Hospital. And so, for example, they've got these cancer support groups, and it'd be a bunch of ladies, and then there'd be like a men's group. And I'd come in and bring a speaker and just play the music, for everyone to hear. And I would be standing there with one hand on my chest, one hand on my belly, and kind of instructing people in the mechanics of proper breathing. And then, you find the beat of a song, kind of count 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 1 is when, you transition from an inhale. When you're back to the 1, you exhale. Back to the 1, inhale, back to the 1, exhale. And you start to build, find that kind of internal rhythm. And every song you can find so many different patterns to breathe in that song. But usually there's kind of one dominant theme. And just kind of stick with that and hang on for the ride. Because as you know, conscious breathing can get pretty powerful pretty quick.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We recently started doing that just on our Thursday nights, and so I would do the breath work, and we'd have tones and stuff playing and beautiful, healing tones and stuff, and I love that too. But we kind of get a little bit more intricate with it when I would introduce the music. And one song that I really, really, really like, it's about the breath, is Numa by Tool. And just the timing signatures in there. And so I was like, it was just spontaneous. I was like, let's play this song and make sure you guys can hear me. And I'm going to lead you in the techniques. And 1, 2, 3, we breathe in really deep when the instruments come in and the cymbals and psh, the song in itself is powerful. So we've been doing that, and also mix that in with the Kundalini yoga, even on the retreats and stuff. So we're doing these different motions and stuff with the music. Dun, 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 dun. And you just get faster and faster and really get the energy moving. So adding music to it takes it to the next level, man. And I know, one of our mutual friends, Illuminati Congo, he's doing a little bit of that too. I think he's actually working on an album or that's going to be, all about the breath and rhythmic breathing and stuff as well. And so there's a lot of this coming out. It's powerful, man.
It is. It's almost like playing with electricity, to where you can also get burned with it. Right? The nerves, the nerve toning of your body. You gotta prepare for some of these higher practices. But for the most part, you can introduce someone to conscious rhythmic breathing, and their own mind is gonna not allow them to get as powerful as they can, because they just don't have enough focus and willpower to get there. But it's definitely, information that is ripe for sharing in our world today, with all the misinformation and suffering that's going on. Healers are coming out and saying, all right, monks and yogis are coming out and saying, all right, this can't be kept secret no mo. We got to get this information out.
Yeah. Because everybody can do it, and everybody is doing it, and you can just learn how to do it better, right? Just the different, improper breathing. I mean, there's a reason that they tell you, psychiatrists and people tell you that, hey, take a deep breath, man. Step away, take a breath. There's something about focusing on the breath, and it gets as elementary or as deep and esoteric as like literally turning your body into a vehicle or vessel of light to actually astral travel and project out of your body with breathing techniques through the Kabbalah and things like that. So with that contrast, right, of turning your body into light and leaving through 108 breaths or whatever through the Kabbalah versus just take a deep breath. What do you teach at the hospitals? Like, how deep do you go with the people there?
Definitely. I've made the mistake, because in my personal life, right, I'm very interested in the spiritual, and it can be a little, far out for a lot of people. So I made the mistake. Sometimes you just get talking, someone asks you a question, and you're just like, Well, it is just as that powerful. It can be as simple as, hey, take a breath, or it can literally take you to meet your soul, to be your soul, to leave your body. And I made that mistake once, and kind of people would look at me like, oh gosh, should I practice this? But for the most part, I just keep it real simple. I've worked in public schools, and so when you're working with public school kids, there can be really zero mention of anything kind of spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked hard to tailor conscious breathing as a stress management tool or an athletic performance tool, and that's where I stick with it, and that's the most universally appealing. So the music is a big part of how I teach conscious breathing. Another big part is with beads. So I'm wearing a mala right now. I make a bunch of malas as a hobby, and with the Inner Athlete Foundation as an outreach tool. We all want to get people to start learning these techniques of self-empowerment, conscious breathing, but the mind is the most important thing in actually, taking enough breaths to change your physiology. You have to have a strong enough mind and willpower to get those breaths in. And what I noticed was people were just struggling, with that. The mind wanders too quickly. So I came up with breathing beads, breathing bracelets as an outreach tool where they're relatively inexpensive to make. So I can give a bunch away. And it is just like doing 15 push-ups or 16 push-ups. This is 16 breaths. And you've got the clasp, how it connects together. That's your home base, your start and finish. Every time you inhale, you grab a bead. Exhale. Inhale, grab a new bead. Exhale. And it's like a track, you go run a mile on a track, you have to do 4 laps. Well, this is 16 breaths. And so it allows you to kind of teaches people how to relax into, okay, I'm going to sit here for about 2 minutes. I'm going to focus on my breath for a few minutes, and I can relax into that. And, gives a tactile experience for your fingers to follow along. And when you've completed the 16 and you're back at the clasp, teach people to inhale, hold their breath, which can get to some of this Kundalini yoga stuff of, with the breath retentions and the energy moving in your stillness. So it can get powerful for people, but it's what they put into it, right? Obviously. But I've had really good success with the breathing beads to teach conscious breathing for stress management.
Now, do you make those to sell them to support the foundation, or do you give them away? What's the deal? Like if somebody wanted to get some of the bracelets?
Yeah, at this time I don't have a shop on my website, simply because I haven't invested the time in learning about shipping and how you would ship products to people and kind of getting set up with a FedEx or something, as a customer. I just need to kind of take that next step of responsibility. But how I've been doing it is, in my local city, I hold workshops. At the workshops, like for example, Mercy San Juan, I did 4 different trainings with 70 nurses on their behavioral health floor. And so, when the nurses came in to do the training and I'm teaching the anatomy of breathing and all this stuff, everybody gets a bracelet, and that's just kind of inherent in the workshop. I've done a couple farmers markets, just out local farmers market in my city and set up a booth and spreading, knowledge about holistic health and what we're trying to build. And so I've sold them there, but for the most part, I give them away.
What are some of the different testimonies that you're getting from people? Do they just feel more relaxed, refreshed afterwards? Are some people like taking it into their daily practice? Are you getting some of those testimonies or what?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've gotten great feedback. I've gotten, people off of blood pressure medications.
Wow.
That's, pretty powerful stuff. Blood pressure medications, no joke. It seems common, right? Because our world is sick, but it's not something you want to be taking. And so just in teaching, these techniques and how to use the bracelet on a daily basis, that controls your blood pressure, controls your pulse, it controls your respiration, controls what your heart's doing.
Yeah.
And so that was a pretty powerful experience to have someone reach out to me and say, hey, I was able to get off my blood pressure medication. My doctor doesn't know why. They just know that your numbers are good. I've had another person, that gets migraines, and the breathing bracelets have helped them to be able to focus. They have to close their eyes and just kind of go in the dark and try to get that migraine under control. And the bracelet helps them as a focus tool to kind of get their mind away from the pain in their head and into the sensation of the beads in their fingers. And also my local mayor wrote a testimonial on my website. She's an amazing woman, and I've given her a few bracelets over the years, just because she's had one and then noticed someone in need and gave them hers. There we go. And so I've built some relationships with people like that in my city. And probably the coolest thing, this weekend, I got 200 volunteers together, and I led a Zoom call, and each person made 12. So I'm going to have 2,400 bracelets by Friday.
You set that up?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool experience. I did a lot of legwork to, buy all the beads, buy all the string, cut all the string, put everything in bags. I've got a tag. Like this is
nice.
Goes with each one, and it's instructions on how to use it. So before I was, people would have to just kind of know me to get the instructions, but now it's all right there. So we've got a program where I was able to get $2,000 granted from my city, and these 2,400 bracelets are going to be given to local police, fire, and paramedic personnel. And there's less than 2,400 of them in my city, so every single one of them is going to get a bracelet. And I mean, imagine a public servant learning conscious breathing. Yeah. Right. That's how we can change the world, by changing individuals' ability to handle stress.
Not to get too weird, too esoteric, which we can go there, but have you found it weird that this whole thing, especially like focusing on the breath, because there's an attack on the breath right now with the BLM, I can't breathe, George Floyd thing, and then COVID attacking the breath and the respiratory system, supposedly, right? This whole thing with not being able to breathe. And so it's like there's an attack on the breath or the spirit, because the breath is the spirit, right? And so have you looked into that or just seen it as a meme or anything?
Oh, yeah. I get a lot of my intel from Instagram, and memes. I'm a firm believer, people talk trash on, fake news or whatever, but if you see a meme and it makes sense and it's just to the point and just rips right to the core of what's wrong with our society, or a specific example like what you're talking about, it's powerful, valuable information. I completely see that our respiratory system is under attack. Here in California, we got the wildfires too, right? So, it's, I don't know much about a lot pertaining to world events and kind of higher level stuff.
Yeah, but, for sure.
But I know that
I wouldn't believe you if you said you did anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of boots on the ground here, trying to just raise people from the ground up. But I 100% see that there is an attack on it, and I kind of find myself just randomly, or by divine intervention, on the front lines of teaching how to take power back from in your breath. And so I don't fear for my life, or Illuminati's going to come grab me or whatever, because I'm teaching breathing. But I think I've shown in my city to be a value and an asset. So there's a lot of people that like me, and like what the Inner Athlete Foundation is doing and want to see me succeed. So I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, but but definitely on that larger level, there is an attack on people's respiration.
Yeah, breath, spirit, same thing. It's your connection to God, you know. Even symbolically, who knows, right? This is like some kind of outward manifestation of some kind of inward struggle that, you know, humans are facing or whatever, which I definitely believe in. So, you know, teaching the breath work and stuff like that, the rhythmic breathing. Now, where do the drums and the djembes and bongos and stuff like that come in with a group setting, whether it's with students or the elderly at the hospitals and stuff?
So usually it's kind of its own chapter of the workshop. So I'll do the live music as its own. I'll do my breathing beats, which are the recorded songs, kind of on their own. And it's kind of just like, you know, people get a splash of these different aspects that they can then go learn later or practice later. But the drumming, you know, I've had a drum since I was a kid, and didn't really, you know, I had no idea that it was going to become a part of my adult life like it is. You know, never really took any training or, you know, was into it like you would think like a typical musician is. But I have rhythm inherently, and I like to create space for people to gather. And so I've ended up becoming a drum circle facilitator. And so I'll go to the hospitals or to the senior homes or to the high schools or to the general public on Saturdays at the farmers market. And I bring 15 djembes, and we set them up, and people just come and they learn how to play music, you know, or if they already know how to play them, they just chime in. But when I'm teaching rhythmic breathing in connection with the drums, it's the same as the music, where you count four in your head, and on the one is when you switch, you know, from inhale to exhale and exhale to inhale. And it is not for a beginner, you know. It takes complete mind body focus to play an instrument and breathe along to the beat that you're playing. But it is definitely possible, and I've taught people to do it. For me, you know, it gets into kind of the shamanic journeying aspect of drumming, and just the power of the wind horse, you know, and to take your mind to places you didn't know existed.
Yeah, one of my songs, I say the rhythm of the drum puts me under hypnosis, anointed by the fire of tongues that's cloven. So it's interesting, man, just because, you know, they talk about how like people go to nightclubs and when they have that loud music and the bass, doom, 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 that your heartbeat actually would match the rhythm of the bass or the drum standing by a loudspeaker, that your heartbeat goes in sync with it if it's faster music or if it's slow. Really interesting how we're connected to the sound and to the music, and specifically the low end of the drum. Drums are interesting, man, especially from like the Christian perspective. You know, there was a time where and there's still a lot of churches that will not allow drums in the church, because or if they do, I found this out, there's only certain patterns that they'll let you drum. Like you can't do any offbeats, you can't do any double time. It's just that 4 count. And if you change it up, and then it gets into, because obviously it's connected to spirituality, they know there's some kind of power there, but I think to their own demise, they would say that it was a demonic power. I guess if you would see more of the tribal people, obviously we'd see like Africans and stuff like that in these drum circles and chanting and dancing and everybody getting riled up. And you see that even in some of the other Pentecostal churches where they play the tambourines and the drums real fast, and the spirit starts moving and things start happening when the drums are played. So very powerful, you know what I'm saying, very sacred instrument that I think we need to bring back. I remember in 2015, I went to a festival they had me out at, Further Fest in Tennessee, and it was my first time being at they have a specific name for it, maybe you know, but it's a drum circle at night, and everybody's going in circles dancing while they're playing the drums, and there's people with fire. It was amazing, but you got a glimpse of that ancient tribal fire that is within all of us, and it's what our ancestors used to do. And so capturing that out through, you know, we get a piece of that in the the djembe or in the hip hop or whatever. A little bit of that comes out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were holding what we called Midnight Drum Crew once a month, and basically that experience of letting go of the typical societal kind of construct
Yeah.
of humans are and what we think is fun, TV and video games and whatever.
Oreos.
We kind of kind of rejected all that, and we'd bring our drums out to the lake and dance around, stomp around, have a little fire and howl at the moon. And I'm not lying. On more than one occasion, we've had the animals chime in with us. Packs of coyotes. They you realize they're not that far away, and they're howling along while we're drumming, and it really connects you to that feeling of, okay, I am a human, but this body, skin, vehicle will disintegrate back into the earth, and so I am the earth, and I am everything around me.
Yeah.
And when animals start engaging in what you're doing, it really makes you feel special, like you're one with spirit.
Oh yeah. There's a connection there when you find it with animals, and then you find it with the elements as well. Your connection with them, and you have a moment, and somewhere in the spiritual journey, it happens for a lot of people. And I remember both of those times happening for me, whether it was with birds or even feeling like you're singing the songs of the birds back to them and they're communicating with you. Or I remember being, and it was at the beginning of this journey for me, like around 2012, 2011, something like that. I remember reading Secret Teachings of All Ages. I went outside. The weather was just perfect. I went outside my backyard and, read some of that, and then went into a meditation. And I think I threw some bird seed out too. But I sat in my chair and then meditated and tried to connect, and I opened my eyes, and there was literally birds all around me. And it was just like, it was just magical just to see that they come here and they're this close. And then the wind started to blow, and it would blow through the trees, and it looked like an entity, because it would start at the top of this tree on far right, and it would just move like it was something traveling through the trees, man. And it would do circles, and I'm like, this is amazing, like seeing it as it is alive, and it has a consciousness and a mind of its own kind of thing. And so there's those levels that we get through with consciousness and through spirituality, that those little moments is like an aha moment, and we can go deeper and further into every single one of them, which is the beautiful thing.
Yeah, and to just kind of continue with that, it's like, what's the point of having these experiences? And for me, what has brought them on and what makes them stronger is connecting to my heart space and my heart field, and the knowledge that we are so intricately connected with everything around us, and that our positive mindset and how we project positivity and love into the world is a mirror, and that comes back. And as soon as that kind of realization like started settling in, that if I promote my heart, that the universe responds. That's when these things have kind of started taking off, and I don't open my heart just so I can have an experience with, an animal. My heart opens up and the experiences happen.
That's it. Yeah, it's interesting, man, when it comes to our connections with the animals. And there's a scripture that talks about how, like, after the fall or whatever, that God put this fear in the animals where they would be scared of humans. We might have talked about this in our session, but just the whole thing, it's interesting of like when you stop eating meat for a period of time, how it almost seems like those animals know that you're not going to try to kill them and eat them. They can either smell it on you, they smell it in your pores, it's permeating off of you that you are a meat eater, that, a deer, like your connection with the deer is different if they know that you don't want to eat them. There's different, it's consciousness, it's different levels of it, and connecting with those animals on that level. There's so much to say about it. And I've heard stories of people being able to go out into the wild once they've kind of done the inner work and the inner healing, and they don't, meat is I'm not saying it's a prerequisite, but a lot of these people have got it out of their diet. And they say that the animals that were once scared of you, like the deer is going to run from you. unless it's tamed, or the squirrels are going to run from you unless you've been feeding them and all that kind of stuff in like a public park or something. But to get yourself to a level where the animals aren't afraid of you anymore, that you're back like at that original place where we were in unity with all of creation, and they're not scared of you anymore. So that's an interesting place to be as well, dealing with the animals.
Yep. And, I'm not, definitely not there, right? Full time, but I get these, we're trying and we're putting forth the effort to purify ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what the universe sees, I think, and
yeah, for sure. Me too. I go in seasons with that stuff, and I think it's good.
Yeah, right now I'm feeling like it's one of those on seasons. It's magical,
Yeah.
but it's also keeping up with a practice, when you start to get these blessings to make a commitment and have a dedicated time where you are going to continue to purify, you're going to continue to project compassion, and then you get into the real life of, okay, 3 kids, full-time job, running a nonprofit, like how do you find time for that Hannah, and it's just, what are your priorities? My spiritual teacher, physical human teacher, my Qigong teacher, is a great example, because he is one of those militant, do it every single day, and make it the priority in your life, and everything else will fall into place. And so just over the past couple of years of learning from him and his instruction in Qigong, but also just his personal example, building up that motivation and willpower to have that daily spiritual practice.
Going back to the drums and the drum circles and the dancing, one of the things that you also teach is the spontaneous movement and stuff. And I guess that those kind of go hand in hand when you start playing the drums and moving around and dancing and stuff like that. Or are there any like techniques that you teach people as far as like an icebreaker, like what to start, like to tap into, what I'm saying, spontaneity? And because with anything, with that icebreaker of tapping into, like, moving past the threshold of like what is expected or respected out of the way that you're acting. My mind goes to speaking in tongues, right? That's a spiritual practice they teach you in the churches, and it moves into spontaneity. But there's something that, hey, do this first. Do this first. Keep doing that. Keep doing it. Now you're getting it. Now you're dancing. Now you're moving, right? Is there something like that's an icebreaker with the spontaneous movements?
Definitely. For me, what my teacher told me was, go completely still. And from that kind of 0 point, the spontaneous movement will emerge. So I was taught horse stance, which is basically standing in a semi-squat for extended periods of time. And it's a Qigong practice that builds energy in the body. But from that, for me, my spine starts to move. And if you just allow yourself to not be self-conscious, you just let it happen, right? And so I've kind of practiced that by challenging myself, and I go to a park, let's say, and I think I'm alone, right? But all of a sudden people start showing up, and I've already committed myself to doing some of these voodoo-like practices.
Yeah.
And then people are walking by, and I have to just be like, okay, this is how it's going to be. I guess people were meant to see this, and you just start allowing yourself to make harmonious movements. Like for me, like my hands. So I don't know if you can see like this motion. I can start incorporating my elbows to it and make it like a full arm thing. But that combined with kind of just shifting your hips a little bit, and your hips are like the foundation of your spine. So if you just move your hips a little bit, your whole spine's going to twist, and you start treating that like your spine and the crown of your head is like a whip. And so you get this kind of I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but you start doing that with rhythmic breathing, and you stop thinking about what it looks like, and you start just feeling,
Yeah.
and that's where the healing comes.
Now, do you ever feel the energy with it, like the prana, or whatever you want to call it, chi, Holy Spirit? Like I call it all the same thing, Kundalini. Like you can actually feel it as you're almost like in the wind at all. Do you ever get with that? Like can feel it when you're doing those movements?
Definitely. It's different for everybody and different strengths. And I taught qigong at a yoga studio for about 2 years. A year ago in 2019, I stopped. And there would be people that would come and, total beginners, right? And I'm over here like teaching the class, and I'm like, okay, inhale and feel the expansion, and exhale, contract, and I feel it kind of as like my hands just feel like they're full of blood,
Mm-hmm.
and just like a throbbing in my hands. And but I'd have, little old lady, just showing up, and she's doing the same thing, and she's like, my arms feel like they're floating. Like I can't, it's like the energy's huge. I
Yeah.
can't close the ball down. And so,
It's too much.
yeah, everybody experiences it
Yeah.
differently. I
Yeah.
think I'm one of those people that is kind of hardcore, to where if it's like, I'm not going to fake myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so it has to be legit and real.
Yeah.
And I need to do like 5 minutes of hardcore rhythmic breathing to get the prana going,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's about just maintaining balance and not passing out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm with you though. But I tell you what, this is a good place to be because I feel like it sets you up to see so much real stuff. Like you don't want anything fake. You just don't want to like excite other people or excite yourself. Like you really want to do it. And I've kind of been, I take that approach with, with meditation and mindfulness and stuff because there's a lot of people who claim like they just instantly close their eyes and they can astral travel, or close their eyes and they're in heavenly realms and weird places and stuff. And I know you have to use the imagination to engage with those realms anyway, right? But for me, like it takes a while of doing that breathing and to really get yourself and really enter that trance state. Now I think there's levels to it. You can close your eyes and you're there and you can see and all that kind of stuff. But to really go deep, and I know when we did our session, we talked about astral travel and leaving the body and go into the slippery places and just places of the consciousness. We don't know what they are. We're trying our best to explain them, and we do that through music and writing and all that kind of stuff. But there's a level that I get to. Now I can engage with those people who just want to just close your eyes and what do you see and what do you feel, and but there's a difference when you go deep through the breath work, when you're training the mind, when you're listening to tones, when you're doing the mantras, and then you kind of peer through. There's different levels to it all, right? So that's the interesting thing. And I'm with you. Like I want to know that I'm just not making this up, because I've done some of those meditations with friends, and we've tried to kind of do them together, and they're like, hey man, what'd you experience? And they're like, man, I was flying through space, man, past planets and all kind of. I was like, really? It's kind of hard to believe, because it was only like 2 or 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes. I was like, really? You left your body and did that quick? It's like, yeah, man, I'm pretty good at it. I was like, okay. For me, it's hard to, because my experience is different, but I feel like they imagined it. But again, it is about engaging the imagination. So who's to say that they didn't? Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like just for the seeker, for the knower, like there's levels to this for sure.
Yeah. And like you said, there's, if you want to go deep, and like for me, people that I admire and look up to and want to emulate are people like Milarepa. He was a yogi from Tibet, and he, whether the stories are real or not, he has many amazing stories, and they inspire you to try to be a certain way. And I think that what he was able to do is real. It is a possible potential of human being. And so I want to align my life and my daily tasks with getting closer to that level that humans are able to express. And you know, and some people they're cool with, like you said, kind of the more surface stuff, and that's, you know, we're all here for our own journey. But for people like you, people like me that are trying to build something that can benefit other people, you know, we need to go deep, and maybe we weren't meant to be just given these experiences of flying through space like someone else can maybe feel like they did, but you know, we really truly want it and desire it, and that's going to build and cultivate this inner fire to do whatever it takes to get there, you know. And so I think the leaders of the planet are given the harder tasks.
Yeah, well, it's cool though that everybody can enter in at different levels and still experience, you know, the inner verse, to go within to experience everything that's without of you. And that's what we teach people that want to leave their body. It's like, the journey is within you. Go within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Everything's within. So learning to go within, and if that is a 2-minute flying through space, whatever that is, you know, with your creativity, with your imagination, or if that is a 30-minute breath work where you're just trying to go in deep, 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 you get high, you enter weird states that people are talking about, like even through Kundalini yoga, just going really deep, changing your consciousness. I remember what made me fall in love with Kundalini yoga, and I'm not an expert by any means. I've only done it a handful of times, but those times that I've done it have been beautiful. The first time of doing the Kundalini yoga by Guru Mook, it's an old video, but after doing that, I felt like I was a dirty wash rag that got like wrung out, and muscles that were like massaged and used, and even moving the energy with it, with the body, and being physical. Like that night, we went to a concert that night, and everything just looked different. Everything was brighter. The air was clearer. I was more present. It was just so beautiful, like what that experience brought to me. You know what I'm saying? And so all of the different techniques that we can do, Kundalini yoga being one of them, you know, similar to Qigong, anything with the movement and the breath and focused intention, and then knowing that connects you to your spirit body as well. And man, it's so beautiful. Like people talk about entering into trance-like states, almost like forms of psychedelics, just through breathing or intense Kundalini yoga. For me as a Christian, like I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and like there are ways that you can breathe. There are hand mudras that you can do while you're breathing, and like your body is like it's like a machine, or it's like you can tap into these realms that God has placed within our DNA, you know, as humans and stuff. And so breathing techniques that make you, you know, more conscious, that produce creativity, that help you go to sleep. Like there's different breathing techniques to go to sleep. Like all of this stuff, it's so awesome to explore the depths of what we have within us. We don't have to go anywhere or buy anything to do it. It is all within, and it's so encouraging, you know.
Well, that what you just said is the antithesis of our culture right now, the mainstream pushed culture, where you actually need everything outside to make you happy. And so yeah, what you're speaking is powerful words, and they're true words, and the power is right under our noses, as they say. You know, we're here to just share with people that, hey, if you settle down and you become okay with sitting for 5-10 minutes, you can bring in an activity called conscious breathing that's going to really give you years and years of exploration into yourself.
Yeah. What are
you can go slow.
Yeah, and that's there's no limit, there's no cap on it. You know, what's real for me, it could be different for someone else. They've not experienced it. But the beautiful thing, I feel like the deeper you go with it, you know, it is repeatable. It has repeatability, that people can actually tap into these realms by doing it. If you teach the breath work, if you do it, and everybody's going to experience something different, but a lot of it is similar. You get those testimonies of, I feel the energy, I'm glowing, I'm crying, you know, I feel, you know, relieving stress and tension, and just feeling alive, man. because just the shallow mouth breathing that we do, like we're just used to shallow breathing. But when you let all of that oxygen in, and it oxygenates your heart and your blood, and you just feel more present. I mean, that's what the Kundalini yoga did. I felt alive, man. I felt clean. I felt amazing. And so I didn't have to go anywhere, do anything, take anything. It was all within me, and that's the beauty of it.
And combining that practice with actively cultivating your heart space and your love for other people, for other beings, that combined with the physical breath work is the mirroring, or the unification of the two sides of our nature. And so you can be a demon and practice conscious breathing, right? And you can become a powerful demon, but that's not what the beings overseeing this planet, they don't want to have a bunch of demons running around. They want to have a bunch of angels, a bunch of saints. And how you get there is from cultivating the heart and cultivating the energy.
Yep.
To go together.
Yeah, because you're conscious of it. And that it's real. The conscious thing is, so even with our own inner critic and our critiques that we have, and we catch ourselves doing things that we don't want to do, that's good, because you can, as long as you can catch yourself, you're conscious of it, you can stop. It's a thing. It's a character flaw, a defect that you want to work on, versus the individuals who are lulled asleep and they don't even know that they're doing these things. They're hurting the planet. They're hurting their body. They're hurting their family members. Whatever it is that they're doing, running people out of their life, self-sabotaging and burning bridges every time they start a new venture. Like, there's so much stuff, but the fact that you're conscious of it is good. Even though you're not where you want to be, but that it's a thing, I think speaks volumes for your own inner transformation, your own inner healing, and really moving up those, what I would call like a spiritual ladder through this spiritual school that we're all in, of being conscious, to be more present, to help people, to not to want to give back more than we take, and all of that is the fact that you're conscious of it. Not that your right hand knows what your left hand's doing, you're doing it to earn, or you're doing it to get something, but it's just who you are. You want to help people. You want to explore. I mean, whatever it is, I think there's a lot of similarities, especially when it comes to healing, why people do it. They've been oppressed. They've been hurt before, so they never want to make someone feel that way again. But being conscious of the inner work and the healing work that you're doing, I think it goes a long way.
It's the rocket fuel. Because you can wander around for the Buddhists say you can wander around for countless kalpas, which are these like aeons of time, in a psychic slumber, but bringing the light of awareness to your issues really allows you to choose, okay, do I want to continue this path, or do I want to maybe go a different way? And the only way you can do that is with the light of awareness.
Mm-hmm. A couple more questions for you, man. What are some of your favorite breathing techniques? I know there's so many, and they're all fun, right? But what are some of your favorite ones to start with, or maybe to build up to, whether it be breath of fire or 3-part breathing, or just being conscious breathing? What are some of your favorites to do, and favorites in a way that you can introduce it to other people so that they can do it too, kind of thing?
Right. Yeah. Hi, my name is Preston. Nice to meet you. Now breathe 30 times a second. Yeah, that doesn't go very far.
Stick your tongue out and pant like a dog with us for the first time. Welcome, everyone. Some of the more weirder ones,
Yeah, no, and when I'm by myself, for sure, the tongue is out, my eyes are rolled back, because that's where the energy goes. But yeah, to start on more of a exoteric level, the music for me has taught me circular breathing. So I like to think of it, you've got square breathing, which is a square, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Triangular breathing, inhale, exhale, hold, or the other way, inhale, hold, exhale, inhale, hold, exhale. You've got circular breathing, which is just inhale, exhale, and there's no pausing. And so for me, the music allows me to do circular breathing with minimal effort. My mind can just listen to beautiful music, and I am just breathing rhythmically. So that's what I teach others first, and it's kind of funny that is one of the most powerful breathing techniques is the circular breathing. But like I said earlier, it takes willpower and awareness and understanding of what you're doing to really get those higher levels of taking conscious control of your energy as it moves through your body. So I don't worry about people going too far right away, but the circular breathing to music is what I introduce to people first.
How many whenever you introduce one of those, how long do you sit in it for? How long do you do that breath? Do you have a certain number that you like to go to, or 2 minutes or something like that? Or
are you referring to my personal practice or when I'm teaching workshops?
Maybe if you're teaching, well, both. What's the difference? Yeah.
All right. Just the only difference is when I'm by myself, I kind of get into more of a stable, maybe I sit for an hour, and meditate, and there's a couple chapters in that meditation. One of those might be like focusing on rhythmic breathing at the start, to build energy, and that kind of sets the groundwork for a stable, still meditation. So yeah, for myself, it's like a mala. This mala is 112 beads. And so if I'm taking a breath like so that pace would take probably about 8 minutes to do a mala. And at the end of the mala, I usually inhale, hold my breath, and you get into that kind of headspace of like, energy's moving. And then you exhale really slow and just.
So that's really soft breathing too, is it right? So you're not doing anything crazy with it. You're just mindful of the breath, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's the forceful methods that I do as well sometimes, but for the most part, you can get to the same place. It just takes a little bit longer if you're breathing soft like that. And the nice thing about doing it that kind of slow approach is that you're not exciting the system too much to where you want to get up and be done, or your mind just starts going into different thought trains. It's more of just a stable, still experience, and the breath becomes like all you need to focus on.
Yeah.
So and so with other people in workshops, I use the beads a lot, the breathing beads, and I teach just inhale into your belly, fill up into your chest, relax, and exhale.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever pace that is for that person, it's good.
Yeah.
But get in the 16 breaths.
Awesome. I do that with the conscious connected breathing, the 3-part breathing. So for me, I always teach gratitude. Like at that, like when you breathe in, when you hold it, like at the peak of that breath, just do this inner thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the breath, back to the Creator, that I'm here, that I actually have the breath, that, and so it's just this flow and sinking into this thank you, gratitude, thank you. So that's what I teach with it, every time. And so it could, because this is personal, I just vocalize it, you know what I'm saying? Like when I teach it. So when I breathe in, it's just that at that peak, thank you. You can say it, just think it. You're connected. The breath is the connector as well. It is the spirit. The scripture says, let everything that has breath praise the Lord. I really like that. Where there is no breath, there is no praise. So it's that praise and that thanksgiving to enter in. And that's what I teach too, like to enter into those states and to enter into whatever heavenly realms or wherever, into God's presence, to be, you're always in there, but being conscious of it. And that consciousness is being mindful. And it says to enter in with thanksgiving and with praise. And so that's gratitude. Just thank you that I'm here. Thank you for what I have. Let me count my blessings, that my heart's beating. I still have breath in my lungs. Those are the two go-tos for me. the heart and the breath, and going deeper into that with meditation and with gratitude and thankfulness, and even, guided meditations of just going into the heart or bringing in the love of Christ to the heart or whatever, something like that. So really beautiful experiences, man. So much gratitude, overwhelming gratitude, through the breath.
And you're teaching something that isn't really words. The emotion of gratitude is not a word, right? And you're having to kind of explain all around it.
It's a feeling,
It's part of what it is. And that's, you do a good job of it.
I try. I mean, I hope they get it, because I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things of trying to articulate it in a way that they experience it,
Absolutely. Yep.
Because a lot of people even find that they have nothing to be thankful for. They're victims and they don't have anything, but we all have the breath. And I think that like the breath is hope. Like, that we're mindful that we're still here, that we can still better ourselves. We still have a chance because we have breath, we have our heart. We can still just experience life, that we're here, this existence that we're talking about, and where we're going after here, we don't know, but we're here now, and to make the best of it, and to really enjoy it. Everything, the animals, that's where spirituality comes in. It's consciousness. It's a daily practice, just to be mindful and be present versus being on autopilot, where the majority of people are. And it's easy to slip into. Even the thing is, again, that you're conscious of an autopilot. I definitely have an autopilot, and I don't like it. And I have to shake myself out of it and say, hey, be present, man. Whether it's performing, whether it's creating, whether it's, doing your daily routine, and you're just in it. Hold on, be present, look around. One thing that taught me about this mindfulness and presence is when I was driving a truck for a living, and I didn't want to do it. And so I would drive like from point A to point B, and that would be 300 miles, 400 miles. And that's a long drive. And so I would look out the window and I would see like lush fields. And I'm like, man, I wish I could lay down in that field, man. And I got a long drive. I can't really stop. And so, but those couple times that I would, you know what I'm saying? And say, so to be present of that. But the weird thing is with driving and being in that place is that you have all of this creativity come in, and all you have time to do is think. You're in your head. There's so much ideas. Like, I've had so many experiences with God and creativity. I wrote the majority of my music while I'm driving, like so much stuff, just because the way the subconscious is working and you're just by yourself. It's just weird practice. But the key to being mindful is when you're not driving. Like, you have to remember this stuff, whether you're writing it down to remind yourself or whatever, because there's going to come a point where you get home and you're ready to veg out because you're tired, or now you're around family, you got stuff to do, blah, blah, blah. You're not driving, but it's like, hold on, because there'll be stuff I wanted to do with my family. And because when you're driving, all of this stuff's coming because you're thinking about what you want to be doing, but you can't because you're stuck driving. And so for many, and that's just driving. For some people, they're stuck at Walmart working, stacking, food on the shelves. They're, whatever, you're under a truck with a wrench. Like, you're thinking about what you want to be doing instead of that. So, but you got to make sure that when you're not doing it, you're mindful of those ideas and the things that you had. So, like, for instance, one time I was just driving home and I was super tired, but just was thinking about teaching my daughter to ride a bike. And I think she was 5 years old, 6 years old, and she didn't know how to ride a bike. And I got to thinking that, like, none of her friends knew how to ride bikes either. Like, the parents, like my generation, they're not teaching their kids how to ride bikes. I was like, you know what? When I get home, I'm going to teach her how to ride a bike. We're going to go out and do it. When I got home, it was easy just to go lay down because, like, I'm exhausted, working 17 hours sometimes, or getting up at 1:30 in the morning to go in, and then getting home at 5 to go teach her. But it's something that you're present and you bring it in, because those thoughts and the ethers and the creativity and all that stuff, writing it down, and that's how you birth your dreams and your destiny. You gotta get to that place where it's coming, and it's in the subconscious, where you're doing something that doesn't take a lot of motor skills. You don't have to really be present. So driving, I just got to watch traffic and just go for 4 hours, so there's so much that comes. And so when you're done with that, manifesting it, taking that step, because there's so many reasons not to. I'm too tired to do a podcast, man. Bro, there was times, and I know I'm talking a lot, but there were times where I would do those 17-hour days, and I would get home at like 8 o'clock, and I'd have to walk past my family. My wife would give me my food, and I'd come sit here and do a podcast, and like just push play. Hey, how you going? And it was like, I'm talking about been up since 1 a.m. long day. Get home, and we're scheduled to do a talk, and we sit down, and I got to be into it, and just kiss my wife, kiss my daughter, and just sit down and just keep going. But it's those times or whatever that's the clutch. I seen you had a basketball cup a while ago. Like, that's the clutch when you come through when like fourth quarter, like it's time to manifest it. It's time to make it happen. And you got to put in the work to do it. And the way you get those ideas through mindfulness, through meditation, through breath work, there's stuff that comes to you, right? There's different layers to it, but then manifesting it into your day to day. Have you experienced any of that stuff? You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to sound like a crazy person, man. I'm trying to vocalize how this process works for me, you know?
You're not talking about an easy topic to talk about. So I totally get where you're coming from, though. I've had experiences in meditation where it's like a really beautiful idea and you have to get it down because it could literally be like the trajectory of your destiny, like you said. And so opening that door of the subconscious, you could call it whatever you want to call it, opening that door, you have to be prepared to actually take the advice that you start hearing, right? And then once you have it written down, then it's okay, how do I restructure my life to make this happen? And you know, my own experiences, like for example with this String a Bead for Those in Need project with the community service day, working with the 200 volunteers, getting all that ready, all that prep work, you know, in my day job. I had to let my wife, you know, kind of, you know, let her know, hey, I need to manifest this right now. And it's taking a little bit more of me away from you than I want. But, you know, once this event's done, it's going to be an amazing thing that we just did, you know, getting 200 people together, making 2,400 bracelets, like giving them away, getting the funding for that so that we can give them away, you know, and just seeing that kind of larger picture allowed me to kind of rest and allowed her to rest that, you know, I'm not gone for good. I'm not, you know, thinking my family is second best. It's just sometimes when the spirit gives you a tool or a task or a job, you need to just get it done.
Yeah, and the weird thing is not everybody has that in them. You know, everybody dreams, or at least used to, right? But it's about being able to not capitalize, but execute those dreams, and not everybody can do that. So if there's anything that I can do to help or encourage someone to do that, I want to make sure that I'm doing it. The interesting thing too about getting the inspiration, because once you write those goals down and you achieve them, they can put you in a different place. Like you literally step into those goals. Like those goals, those dreams become a reality, and now you're there. But to keep writing new goals is the interesting thing, because like, what do you do when you get to the place where all of those goals that you wrote down, they happen? Now what? Like for some people, like you can get burnt out. You cannot know how to move forward. A lot of people will build a platform and then lose it because they don't know how to maintain it. You know, it's a lot of different things that people start with all these ideas. MLM, multi-level marketing. They get into one, they do it for a week, it's gone, burnt out. They get a new one, it's gone, get a new one. But versus like staying there, executing it. The weird thing is about, for me, because there's so much, I talk about the truck or these other jobs that I loathed doing and didn't like doing, but there's so much inspiration because I kept thinking about what I wanted to do. Now I'm doing what I want to do, but there's no truck. The truck is what like fueled me to get out of the truck, to step into the destiny. Now that you're in the destiny, now how does creativity keep flowing? How do you keep coming up with new ideas? How do you stay hungry? Now you're eating. Now how do you stay hungry? What is the next level? So to write down those new goals, to see how to manifest them. For me, you know, the truck was one thing, but then like psychedelics again, plant medicine, as far as just using psilocybin, did wonders as well. But it's to write them down. Like, I've literally in my wallet, I still have the paper that, when was it? 2014, 2015, 2015, where we went on our first, it was a microdose, not a microdose, but I did like 2.5 grams, 3 grams, but it was so eye opening, this introspective reflection. And I was in a float tank, and I had to get out of the float tank to write this stuff down. I couldn't write nothing down in a float tank while we're doing mushrooms. I was like, I gotta write this stuff down. And I just started writing down all of these things that, like, God was communicating in the universe. I have friends, there's people who do it as party drugs. It's not a sacrament. It's a nonchalant. They'll do it. They get inspiration. They don't write it down. They go back next week and do the same thing. For me, my experiences were so grandiose, and these dreams and goals were so big that I knew it was going to take me months to unpack this. There was no reason for me to try to return back to a psychedelic or try to go through deep levels of meditation to get a game plan. I got the game plan. Now we need to work in this realm to manifest it. The subconscious is when we get ideas and downloads and channels and all kind of stuff. However you do that, the truck or the mushrooms, whatever you're getting it, but it's a way to execute it. And so there's a practical side with our spirituality and with our dreams and stuff as well.
People just kind of talked about me as like being a grounded person, and like you said, there's one type of person that can kind of just live in that outer realm, and then not really be doing much here, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think my my lesson to learn in this life is that here and now is where we need to build. And we can dream about wanting to be somewhere else, but the fact of the matter is that we're here, and each one of us is capable of amazing acts of loving kindness every day, and just being that and doing that here, everything else is going to be taken care of. And if you're moving from that heart space, when you get the download of what you should do, you're going to have the motivation to do that long-term game strategy. You're not going to do the multi MLMs because it just wasn't for you. You're going to find what was exactly for you. And even when you get the 3 different no's on these different projects and different opportunities, you still have that inner fire of, well, this is my path, and we're just going to find another way, So I'm with you, bro.
Yeah. The thing about consistency is, like, those MLMs could have worked, though. Like, they could have been, like, lucrative for you, but you didn't stick with it. Like, any of them could have worked. You know what I'm saying? Because the one that you did this week, and the one that you did for 2 months, and then the one that you did for 6 months, like, you quit them all. But if you would have just stuck with that one, right, seeing it out long term, whatever it is.
Right.
So I guess with all of this being thrown out, just to find your vision and write it down and make it a goal, and it turns into your reality. Mindfulness, the breath, spirituality, esoteric, it all plays a part for me. It is my spirituality, but it again, it has to be practical. Like, we have to be able to help people. Like, it has to be real. If it's not, I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, if you can't prove it, and it's like, whatever, it's just a theory. Like, we're arguing or debating about beliefs, and what's it has to do with the price of rice in China? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how's that going to affect me? How's it going to make me a better father, a better husband, a better friend? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the stuff I want to hear about. And for me, breath work is huge, Music is huge. A lot of people say music is their religion. Being able to tap in and be able to have an outlet to express themselves through that.
Absolutely. I would raise my hand as one of those people that says music is like going to church. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with it. It's helped me and so much, and for me to be able to pay that forward too, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? And to be a soundtrack for people's spirituality, because there's other, LCOB and a lot of other people were that for me. So now I make music, and I'm that for people who who are stepping into this stuff. And so being able to pay that forward and know how powerful that music and art and creativity is, and being intentional with it, is amazing, man. And to be able to share in that, so cool. But yeah, man, so if people want to support, man, and I know you guys need a lot of support, and there's funding that goes into what you're doing amazing work, and people wanted to check it out. Do you have any videos? Do you ever record any of these workshops, or working with the teens or working with the elderly? You have any of that stuff online?
Well, the funny thing is, and it doesn't help for PR at all. Most of these places, they don't allow video.
Yeah.
So we kind of just do our work in silence.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I do have a website, innerathletefoundation.org. And on there's different tabs. So for the drum circles tab, you can click on that and scroll down, and there's pictures and video. So you can see some past drum circle footage. On YouTube, I've got a couple of videos that I've just, when I was learning how to make breathing beats, I called them, I would take, I posted one, completely original song, but then there's some other ones that I just took someone else's song and embedded myself breathing to the beat to teach the conscious breathing. So all that's on YouTube. Yeah, my next step, I think, now that I've, done some work with some serious, like with the city government, with the mayor, with, 200 volunteers, and working with police and fire, I've got a bit more, what's the word, credibility to this foundation that I've built. And so I've from the start, I've wanted to not have the cart before the horse. I've wanted to have my mission, my programs be changing the world before I start really talking about what I'm doing. And so now that I've kind of got some of this really good, fertile stuff to talk about, you'll start to see more kind of higher production videos going into what I'm doing. The website, built it all myself, and I wanted to just have a nice, clean website. The whole thing with a 501c3 nonprofit and all that back end kind of stuff to be considered a nonprofit with the IRS, and then the donor management systems that allow you to create web forms to put billing information on a website, and all that just intricate stuff is now kind of boom here.
Hey,
and
yeah, I've been doing it too. That's all I've been doing. I haven't been able to create. In a sense, that's creating too, but it's the infrastructure on the back end that nobody sees. They just see the finished product with all of this stuff,
And so right now, I'm kind of ashamed. It's like I got all this back stuff and not a lot of marketing material, right? So that's my next step is getting some good videos of what we do.
I think getting a good and I've got a friend of mine who's been in my ear about this, but get somebody to do a animated explainer video where it shows the cartoons of like a cartoon version of you going into school or going in, like that would be dope to have a cartoon explainer video. And those are really you can get them for pretty cheap. Like especially on Fiverr, get somebody who can work with you and hook it up. Like you probably get it for like $50 if you're lucky. Like to get somebody to look like you and all that. That would be dope to show you going into schools, teaching people, like showing a classroom that's like disruptive and stuff, and then they start breathing and they calm down, and then the old people who are like depressed and stuff, they're breathing and now they're at peace. Like, dude, that would be a dope cartoon video for you to do, like an explainer video.
Drum circles are cool with the seniors because, it's like they get carted in and, by the workers, and you're sitting around a circle and, it's all kind of blah. But then after 10 minutes of people, handing out drums, I mean, the life comes back and you get joy. You get people tapping their feet. And
man, I got a lot of friends who do that, who go into the hospitals and the living facilities and stuff. And a lot of Christian ministers, friend of mine's going there, they play music. They go in there and play music to the elderly and gospel music. And you always got an audience, man. They go in there and they do it. And I think they're doing God's work though, man. I think you're doing it too, man. Good stuff. So we got a lot of people here talking about, they want beads, man. They want bracelets and malas.
I use Wix.com for my website hosting, and I paid for the shop aspect. So I have the ability to have a shop on my website. I just don't have that turned on so it's visible. So I will turn on the shop, and I will learn within the next today and tomorrow. I will learn how to start shipping beads to people nationally or wherever you want them, because that's what the Spirit calls me to do, and I need to step into that responsibility. So thank you guys for being interested in what I'm doing.
For sure. I'll buy one too. I'll be definitely put them up there. I'll definitely rock one. Some dope malas.
Sweet.
For sure. So, bro, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for hanging out with me, dude. Thanks for being a fan. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for being a brother, and for doing all the work that you're doing. Pushing spirituality, positivity out there into the world, man. Teaching people how to be present through the breath and how to connect with God through the breath. That's what they're doing, man. They're connecting back to the source, and I love it, man. Thanks for everything that you're doing.
I'm trying to keep it really secular, right? Because there's the esoteric, and that's kind of where you and other
I tell you, come on, that's my community, man. Come on.
Yeah, and I'm over here like I'm trying to be Mr. Corporate, like bringing it to the thousands.
You have to. No, for sure. I think that even like scripturally, like Jesus did that stuff. Like when he's dealing with the 5,000, he's just talking about little principles and little stuff that everybody gets, and then when he's with his core group, he's going deeper. So I think that all of this stuff I think that everything is spiritual. So, you don't have to explain it like because it gives practical, it all has practical implications. Like the breath, you're doing it, you're connecting, you're relieving stress. Someone posted about relieving anxiety, and they're glad that they heard this as a reminder to breathe, to get rid of anxiety. That's God's work, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the good work. So thanks for everything you're doing, bro. And let's connect again soon, man. I'd love to do another talk with you, man. Do a roundtable or something too. Be dope.
Okay. Thank you very much for the platform. You worked hard to build this platform, and I'm now just benefiting from it, so thank you so much for everything you've done and your inspiration through your music, Golden Teachers, 7 Stars, some of these songs daily. I'm a daily listener, so keep up the good work yourself.
For sure. I got new stuff coming, for sure. And I'll tell you with that, talking about this process of creating, and like it gets harder, because I want to keep coming up with new, innovative, and I'll start working on a song that sounds like the last song. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing a song that sounds exactly like that last song. I'm not doing it.
By the way, if you want to transform any of your past beats into breathing beats, on my website, some of the track I've got, we could discuss that privately, but definitely shout out to my boy TruthSeekah on my website for sure, with beat, name of the song and your beat, because you got some sweet beats, my friend.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, we do that. I have to see which ones were like, because I don't make the beats, but I've purchased them, so I have to make sure that you wouldn't get flagged for copyright on them or whatever, because there's some of that we deal with producers in the back end and stuff. So see which some I got you. It'd be dope.
Sure.
Especially those tribal ones. Would be dope for sure. For sure. Be awesome. Hey, Preston, thanks for coming on, man. Really enjoyed it, brother.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, many blessings. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, check out his
podcast.
Work. Oh, Lord. They're clicking on stuff you shouldn't be clicking on, TruthSeekah. What are you doing? Let's see. Right here. That's it. Yeah, man. Check out his work, guys. Support him, and maybe give it a day. Let him set up some of the pictures and the pricing for the malas and stuff, because for those of you guys who were listening, you couldn't see him, but he had a whole bunch of malas and bracelets and stuff up there, and he was wearing some as well. So make sure you go to his website. I did post it in the chat, and I will put it in the show notes. His website is innerathletefoundation.org. innerathletefoundation.org. That's what it's about, man. Visiting the people who need you, and teaching them all practical ways. See, it's something it's different to go there and sell them something. Like, let me sell, because you profit from it. You know what I'm saying? But to do that nonprofit work is beautiful, because he's going there to give, not to receive anything, but very much in that giving, he's receiving. It's his gratitude. It's paying it forward. It's allowing, where your deeper roots of good deeds are located, right? with the Creator. You already know. So that's the beautiful thing about what he's doing. And so anytime that you do work for those people who can't give you anything back, we do the homeless videos, and going to be working on another one soon. There's a lot of people who donated to that. I think we got like $600 to go bless a homeless person. So we get ready to do another one of those videos. But Jesus says to go visit the widows and the orphans. And we used to do a lot of street ministry and going into the projects and the ghettos and the housing projects and stuff. And most people most of the kids there are without fathers, man. I grew up without a father, so my heart's for those people. And Jesus said true religion is to visit those people, the widows and the orphans. Like most of the time in the elderly facilities, a lot of them are widows, man. A lot of widows, a lot of orphans or children who are growing up without parents. That's the true religion. You got to be reaching out. And so that's who we are, man. We're the orphans, and we're doing this for each other. So doing God's work, for sure. Whoever you are, wherever you're doing, find a way to do it. Reaching people online, doing it. Going out and doing it. The highways and the byways are everywhere. Wanted to touch on something too, like we're talking about, in this business mindset and this dream-oriented, goal-oriented stuff that we're talking about. I light up when I talk about this stuff because I want people to do it, and I want people to be in their purpose, whatever purpose that is. Like find out what your purpose is and what your passion is, and try to turn it into what you get to do for a living. For me, like, it's been a lifelong goal, and I finally got to do that at 33 years old. And, it was beautiful. So I'm trying to map out how to do that for other individuals, like what I went through mentally. And you guys heard me try my best to explain the creative process and then the manifestation process, as well as being able to execute it. It's one thing to have a vision and dreams, but it's another thing to execute. So there's a couple of different things. There's about getting that vision and dream, because many of us have given up on those dreams. Many of us have given up on the visions that we had when we were children. So it's one thing about having that dream, and then once you have the dream, if you lost it, if you gave up on it, to go recapture it. That's what this journey is about, recapturing the dream. What is it that you were created to do here? Every single one of us have something to bring to the table. There's something that you would do if money wasn't involved. Find out what that is, and then find a way to monetize it, to step into it, if that's what you desire. Not everybody's passion or purpose is something that they're going to be able to do for a career. So there's a difference there. We got to see what it is. But for those of you who are interested in that, man, I just encourage you. My 8-week program's coming up, and I'm trying to launch people into this, whatever it is that they want to do. But for me, it's the path of the healer, training people to be online coaches, intuitive healers and counselors, and be able to work with individuals on one-on-one level, and to get them to the place that they are, to the place that they want to go. And so mapping that out, it's been working on this program for over a year, probably 2 years now. Been working on the program, and we're launching it October the 18th. So for anybody who wants to do this 8-week program with me, it's going to be learning from me one-on-one. I say one-on-one, it's a small group setting, but we'll be doing it for 8 weeks. And I'm dedicated to holding your hand, walking you through the process, teaching you everything that I know, and launching you out. So if that's what you are interested in and you want to do this, and whether it's even starting a podcast, learning how to spiritual practices on different ways to manifest whatever it is that you're trying to do, manifest wealth. That's one. Like all of this stuff goes together. So everything that I've learned, I'm designing it into this master program. And if you want to be a part of it, make sure that you go to TruthSeekah.com and sign up. It's going to be really good. I've been working 2 years on this program. So I want to speak on that. Also too, when it comes to that, man, say yes to it. Like, all you have to do is say yes. All you have to do is show up, and stop waiting for someone to give you a handout. Like, stop waiting for someone to put you on. Even like some people, you might even feel a camaraderie with them, and they never put you on. for me as a hip hop artist and a lot of hip hop artists, there's this weird notion of like what we'll call getting signed. Even in the church realm, feeling like you were going to get offered a position as a minister at a church someday, that they would just offer you this position, or we see that you're anointed, or we see that you're good with the kids, and we want to give you this job and pay you, in the church realm. But as an artist of like, one day we'll get signed, that I'm good, that I know how good I am. I just need you to see how good I am, or the label. And once you see how good I am, then you'll pick me up because I can make you guys a lot of money because I'm good. For some reason, that is like this unspoken idea that a lot of artists have, that we're going to get signed. I'm going to put this record out and I'm going to get signed to a label, and then I'll have all the money that I need. Those days never come. For the majority, those days never come. You have to create for yourself your own lane. Stop waiting for people to put you on. Stop waiting to get invited to the table. Bring your own chair and show up. If they don't want you there, build your own table. Build your own table, and then you can invite people to your table. The things that you're wanting people to do for you, look at it as something that you can do for yourself, and then you can do for others. Build your own table and invite people. You'll be overlooked. People won't see your worth, and you do. You're good at what you do. You have so much to offer, but you're waiting for people to see it. Even if they see it, they may see you as competition. That's a big one in the spiritual and in the Christian community and in hip hop. All of these communities, there's so much competition because there's a scarcity mentality that people believe that there's only enough to go around. We all can't eat. One of us has to do without. That's demonic. So build your own table, man. Put yourself on. Make your own lane. And there's times where you feel like you're sitting at other people's table and they still just look you over. They still just, nah, we're not him. He's good, but we can't. So listen, you got to show up. Do it for yourself. Because when we're talking about building something that has longevity, this is your life, your career, your faith, whatever it is. Don't go to where you're, tolerated. Go to where you're celebrated. And if you ain't celebrated nowhere, don't just be tolerated. Look, start your own table. Find you people to sit there. Go out and get the misfits like Jesus did. Go out and get the rejects. Go out and get the ones that society is giving up on. Give them a seat at your table, man. That's what he says. When you go to a banquet, don't go finding all the rich people. Don't go finding all the the well-to-do people. Get the rejects, man. Let the homeless folks sit at your table. Let the rejects, let the prostitutes sit at your table. Make your own table. Quit trying to be invited. Quit trying to act like you're somebody you're not so that these people accept you. That's a big one. Make your own table. Make your own lane, because when you do that, they cannot take it from you and they cannot kick you out of it. Even if you feel like there's a camaraderie there, a lot of times you have a company of people come and go, man. People come and go. So don't let your success, don't let your dreams be contingent upon someone else telling you yes or giving you a shot. If they do, praise God. You're in the minority. It's definitely not the majority. Build your own table. You can do it. If they did it, you can do it. You got so much more to offer. So I want to encourage you with that, man. If you're waiting around for somebody to put you on, if you're waiting for a retweet, there's so weird of making it and what it means to make it or to get wealth or to get recognized or to be successful in ministry or a podcast that's successful. Like, a lot of people have really misconceived notions about that. For many people, they'll look at my podcast, and I know they mean well. And my friends say, it's like, hey, if you get him on your podcast, you're going to blow up, and it's like, that's not true. That's not true. I don't care if Trump was on my podcast. I don't care if Jesus came down from heaven and sat down with me and did a podcast. You can't be, that might be a dope episode. You're going to get a couple subscribers, but it's about longevity. It's about being able to continue. Now you interview Jesus. Now you got to go interview Judas. You got to keep it up. It's not just one thing that you do that you're known for or you're going to make it. Like, listen, I've got those interviews. I've got those 100,000 view videos. Those are big for me. I got a lot of people, but that didn't put me on. Like that one guest didn't do it. And I know people mean well, and it'd be a great episode to get big names and all that kind of stuff. But you getting put on, or you getting a co-sign from whoever these people are, it doesn't matter. Like, that's here today, gone tomorrow. You have to keep it up. So if it's a podcast, if it's someone giving you a co-sign again, or someone retweeting you, what if like LeBron James retweets something you said, yeah, you're going to get some clout, but that's going to die down. You have to be able to capitalize. You have to be able to know that that's a push or some type of wind that pushes your ship in that direction, pushes your sail in that direction. And once you have it, then you dig in deep and you keep doing it. Don't do it. Listen, it comes and goes. Shout out to everybody listening. Like, whether you get interviewed on my show, like, people think if they get interviewed by me, then they're going to blow up. Or people tell me, you need to go on Joe Rogan. Like, I do. I'd love to go on Joe Rogan, but quit thinking that that's going to put me on. Odds are I'll never go on Joe Rogan. The odds are. Now, with God, all things are possible, let me tell you. But the odds are against you for that. How about I make my own? How about I become Joe Rogan and make my own, and I can put other people on? Hey, man, go on the TruthSeekah podcast, man. You'll blow up, man. People will buy your stuff. They'll buy your album. Let's promote what you're doing. Do you get what I'm saying? It's these notions. Check yourself, man, because we fall into this by default. Man, if he'll share my book, I just put out a new book. If he'll share it, and I'll get more sales. And yeah, you're gonna get more sales, but what's gonna happen after that? They're gonna dwindle down. You have to continue to create. You have to continue. You have to build something. And then guess what? You got a catalog of things that you've built. You've built your table. Now you got 17 chairs at your table. Now you got plates. Now you got a cup. Now somebody has to put food on the table, right? Know that the wind of God is pushing your sail. And his promises are yes and amen for whatever he's given you. But the Bible says, cursed is the man who trusteth in man. And I think we do this even in small ways of looking up to individuals or even what they represent or what they can give us. Or we put too much stock in men and not enough stock in God. So, and this is deep. Whatever it is you're trying to build, whatever spirituality, whatever religion you're trying to be a part of, whatever you're trying to do with your life, whatever, it's not contingent upon your pastor. It's not contingent upon your spiritual leader, your favorite hip hop artist, your favorite podcast, your favorite ministers who are doing their thing, and you want to rub shoulders with those guys. Build your own lane, because once you sit at your own table, they can't kick you out because they didn't invite you in. And I know that's speaking to some people. It speaks to me. It's my story, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not going to change up. It's tempting. It'd be awesome to be able to sit at the table with the cool kids for a while, but, we out here with the rejects and, you know what I'm saying, the ones that everybody else has looked over. And those are the ones that God is with. So be passionate about that, man. So read some of his comments here. Links says, longevity and consistency is so true. I think that it's rooted in loving and being passionate about what you do. For sure. Like, you wouldn't want to, have longevity and consistency in something that you're not into. The weird thing is when you do have consistency for something that you hate, but you can't do it to your own things that you're passionate about. Like, what is a business? A business is somebody's vision that started, and now you're hired on as an employee to help fund that business, to help make that business run. And you show up every day. You'll get up at 4 a.m, 5 a.m. You'll work overtime. Some people working on Christmas Eve, working on your birthday, your child's birthday, whatever. Like, you're going above and beyond for these people's dreams and visions that started somewhere, but you won't do the same for your own. That's a self-worth issue. You don't think that it's possible. It is. 100%. Try it. Try going above and beyond for the things that you like, the things that you really believe in, the things that you're passionate about. And I bet you that you can turn your 9 to 5, your 5 to 9, the thing you do when you get off of work, you can turn that into your 9 to 5. If you will grind like you're an asset to that job that you're on, like you do a really good job, you're even overlooked. But if you worked like that for your passion, what would happen? I'm an example of it, for sure. Showing up. I just told y'all the story. You've been with me for a little while. Getting home after like a 16-hour day, 15-hour day. I worked crazy hours and walking and sitting right down at the podcast. I know it wasn't good for my family. My wife can't wait to see me. I walk in the door and have to come sit down. I'm scheduled to do it. I could have easily canceled. Hey, let's do it tomorrow, man. I'm tired. I got to listen. I did the hour, 2 hours, whatever it was, and then hung out with the family for a little bit. Sometimes you're going to have to do some of those days. Is it worth it? Is it in you? It ain't in everybody. I'm not talking to you. It goes in one ear and out the other. I'm talking to the person who is resonating down on a deep level. A deep level. Your dreams can be your reality, man. You got one life. You got one shot. Do it now. Don't get in your older years, becoming an elder, 80 years old, be like, man, I wish I would have took that shot. I wish I would have tried it. God is not a respecter of persons. If it works for one person, it can work for you. The system works for those who work it. If you show up and you keep showing up, you're going to get results. Again, talking about the MLM and being inconsistent, the people quit showing up. You showed up for 3 days. You showed up for 2 weeks. You showed up for 6 months. You got to keep showing up. You know, in business and in marketing, you know what they say? And I'm trying to come to terms with this, that a lot of people will not buy your product or what you're trying to sell until 90 days after they first see it. 90 days after they first see it. So if you put something out, an album, art, whatever it is, we think that as soon as they see it, it's going to resonate with them and they got to have it, because we do that sometimes. But go back and think of the email list. Go back and think of all of the things that you just kept seeing. A Facebook ad, it's called retargeting. You see it over and over and over. Guess what if you weren't retargeted? Guess if you only saw that ad one time, you wouldn't purchase it. You wouldn't buy it. But you've been retargeted to see it over and over and over till eventually you click on it and purchase it. I even my podcast, like listening to people who scroll and they see my image. That's a weird image, because they see my little avatar. That's weird. And they click on it just because of that. But after they kept seeing it several times, they clicked on it. If they seen it one time, they just keep scrolling. It's kind of weird. Keep going. But when you keep seeing it, retargeting, you know what that is? It's consistency. Don't show up for a month. 90 days after, they make the purchase. 90 days after, they have to keep seeing it. Keep showing up. Don't stop. It's in you. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. Shout out to everybody checking out the podcast, listening, man. You guys are awesome. So much that I'm working on. I've been super busy and haven't really did any updates after the hurricane. We just had a hurricane come through here, was without power for 2 days. Man, did a lot of damage here on the Gulf Coast, and a lot of people are still without power. So we made it out. I literally have trees down all around my house. Like my property, there's trees that fell. It's like a tornado came through and just knocked down trees, like huge oak trees, pine trees too, one after the other. Just boom, 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 boom. No harm came now my dwelling though. The house is okay, everything's spared, but there's huge trees right on the property line, and then all the way to the back of the property. It's pretty crazy, but we fared out decently, and most people I know did. A lot of people have had damage too, and you know, it's going to be a lot of work here, a lot of rebuilding, and they definitely undersold that hurricane, and many of the hurricanes that we've had here in the last couple of years have just been nothing. They build them up all over the news and all that, and then they come here and it's just like a rain. It just rains, and you know the winds blow a little bit, and they said this next one that came was going to be the same. It's going to be something small. You know, category 1, and I joke it, when it hit landfall, it jumped up to a category 2, and man, it did a lot of damage. So praying for the people on the Gulf Coast. Make sure you keep us in your prayers. And they've got more saying that they're coming this way. But part of it, man, living down here. So with that, I'm going to say peace and shalom, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Read some more comments real quick here. Christopher says, what up, brother? Says, great talk. Great pep talk. Fine line between managing expectations and also living without limiting yourself. Good stuff. And giving up is probably the easiest thing to become an expert in. Wow. Hey, what these experts tell you too, they say fail and fail often, because you can learn from your mistakes. You know what it's like to fail, and you know what it's like to get back up. Fail and fail often. It's good. It's okay to mess up. Admit that you're wrong and pull out. Get out. Like, know when it's time to give up. Like there was a guy who wrote a book on that. We interviewed, like, knowing the perfect time to give up, to admit that you messed up and you got to start over. Because most of us, we're like a pit bull. We're not going to let go. We're just in it because our reputation's on the line, our pride is on the line. So we don't want to let go. So that's huge too, knowing when to start over. So much coming to me on this. This is where I've been in myself, my self-worth, knowing how to do this and replicate it for others who want to do something similar. I'm trying to find ways to do courses and things to teach everything that I know to people, so that they can do it. Obviously, like, I'm encouraging you, I'm speaking to your spirit, but I have to have something for you to execute on this. I can't just tell you, right? For some people, I mean, you're gonna find a way to do it anyway, but I want to be able to encourage you and then say, here, buy this course. I'm literally showing you how I run my podcast on the back end. I'm showing you how I upload the episodes. I'm showing you what sites that I use, like all of this stuff. So I'm really meticulous on that because it's in me, and maybe it's some kind of defect in me. I don't know, but I really want people to win. Like, I really want people to win around me. I feel like if I'm the only one winning, then it's in vain. I want everybody in my circle. If I eat, I want everybody else to eat. I think even when I stepped into doing this full time, I literally got let go from my job, and my wife was in her passion. My wife was doing what she was put here to do, and she's still doing it. And she's happy. She loves her job, and she would just see me come home being so exhausted and hating it, and it would kill her. It would kill her. She just hated to see me like that. And so I think I'm the same way. I hate to see people like that. And so if God did it for me, I want to be able to work with God and do it for you. Whatever it is, there's a way to do it. If that's you, this ain't for everybody, for sure. 100%. Some of this is talking over people's heads. And so thank you guys. You know who I'm talking to. It's you. Yep. It's in you. With that, I'm going to say peace. Love you guys. We'll do it again very soon. Peace, peace.
Your way so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.